What's up, guys? Yo, keep it up here. I just wanted to let all you guys know that didn't already know. I stream every single day live on Twitch. I stream about 2 p.m. Central Standard Time to about 12 a.m. Central Standard Time. So I hope you guys will tune in and check out the streams. We're going for every single day of the year. We're on day 92 at the moment. So join me for the journey, boys. Enjoy the video. What's up, guys? Yo, keep it up here. Today I'm going to be showing you the post SMG nerf patch 5.10 rundown. I'm going to give you guys my top 3 tips that'll give you a little bit of an advantage this patch to winning those solo showdowns and winning as many solo games and squad games as you can. So yeah, hope you guys enjoy it. What's up, guys? I'm back. So today I want to show you the first tip, and it's that the legendary P90 is not the best SMG in the game. It is actually the blue drum gun, and I'll tell you why. So first off, just off their base stats, the legendary P90 has a DPS of 220, as you can see here, and the drum gun has 243, which automatically means it does more damage if you have it hit every bullet. Now, what DPS means is you just times the fire rate. This is how many bullets it shoots per second by the damage. So it shoots 10 bullets per second at 22 damage a bullet. Point blank, it'll do 220 DPS to the body. Drum gun, it shoots 9 bullets every second, and it does 27 damage. So it has a damage or DPS of 243. That is why automatically the blue drum gun is already better than the legendary P90. But we'll show you some other things. Alright, guys, so another reason the blue drum gun is better than the legendary P90 is that in the patch notes it states the SMGs now have damage fall off at range to structures. What this means is that if you shoot a wall point blank, as you can see, it's going to do 22 damage here every time with the legendary P90, and the drum gun is going to do 23 if I'm not mistaken. So yeah. But the issue with this is that if you're using the P90 from far away, you know, to replace an AR or something, it does not do 22 damage per bullet to the wood wall. As you can see there, it took 18 bullets to break that wood wall. It would not take 18 bullets to break a wood wall point blank. Let's see how many bullets it would take. It takes 7. So just from a range of this, which this is honestly a standard engagement range where you find enemy players, and the P90 is just not effective. You need to be almost point blank to make the P90 as effective as possible, and still the drum gun does more damage to structures quicker than it, even at point blank. And the thing about the drum gun is that it doesn't have damage fall off. You know, if I let this brick wall build real quick, we'll see how many bullets it takes to break this brick wall point blank, and how many it takes to break that one, and it'll be the exact same. So here we go. Let's see how many it takes to break this brick wall. So look at that, guys. It took 14 bullets to break this wood wall point blank. I'll bet you it'll take 14 over here as well. Look at that, 14 bullets. And this doesn't seem like something that is that huge, but let's say guys out there are having a build battle and you want to push them, right? If you have just a P90 in your inventory, trying to break their build, watch me try to break this metal structure from here. Let's say they were building with metal, right? Fully built metal structure. Look at how many bullets this takes. I'll move up a little bit so, you know, it's not even possible to miss with Bloom. One clip. That was, what, 58 bullets to break that metal wall? Now let's look at the drum gun. Barely 23 bullets. I might have missed one at the end there too. That's a huge difference. That means this drum gun, it doesn't have to waste the time reloading for a second clip. Now, sure, you could use a regular AR, spray a couple bullets, and then switch to the SMG. But honestly, any type of AR is going to do more DPS to structures at range than a P90. All right, so in conclusion, really the only argument you can make for the P90 over the drum gun is that A, you're out of medium bullets. Like, you only have a little bit of bullets to use for an AR. So you want to use a gun that can use light ammo instead. That's fair. I do that sometimes. Or that you like the P90. It sounds cool. It looks cool. That is it. The drum gun literally outshines it in every way. More DPS on sheet. No damage fall off the structures, but the P90 does. It's just as accurate, if not more accurate. You just got to get used to the side-to-side recoil rather than the up and down. And it's less rare. It's a blue gun versus a legendary gun. Now, granted, you can get the compact SMG out of care packages, which does bump the rarity up quite a bit because people are opening care packages more now that they've been buffed. But there's no reason to ever take the P90 over the blue drum gun after this nerf. All right, I'll catch you guys with the next tip. I am here with the next tip to show you guys, and it's that wood is no longer the best material in the game. Before, the reason wood was the best material in the game was because it started with the most HP, and it built the quickest out of any other material in the game. And that matters the most when you're pushing people, you know? So your brick structure, or sorry, so your staircases and your ramp rushes, they don't get shot out as quickly as possible. And that's the only thing that mattered about materials, you know? You would still use metal if you were camping, you know, trying to build your base up because it had the most health. But you would always use wood to push and build anywhere because it had the least risk or the lowest risk of being shot out. And that's what mattered the most for materials. But now that has completely changed this recent patch. So now wood starts out with 80 health and builds up to 150. But brick also starts at 80 health and builds up to 150. But the thing that matters here is that brick builds quicker. So a brick wall builds at 20 health per second, and a wood wall builds at 17.5 health per second, which means that there's literally no reason to use wood over brick in terms of pushing other than the fact that wood is everywhere, right? So wood is still the most plentiful material on the map, but it is the worst. And I feel like that is definitely the way Epic should design it. Wood's everywhere. You can still use wood. It's not terrible to use wood. But if you have the option to farm and use brick, you should 100% farm and use brick. It builds quicker, and it has a max HP of double. You know, it's an incredible material. Metal also got a massive buff. In my opinion, metal is the strongest material in the game at the moment. It builds slightly slower than wood at about 16.5 HP per second. But that 1 HP per second is nothing. It is minimal. It's one bullet from a drum gun after 23 seconds have passed. And at that point, metal's fully built. And, you know, wood is not building anymore. So in my opinion, brick is the strongest for pushing, but metal is the strongest for literally everything else. If your structure is going to survive for about 10-ish seconds, you should use metal because the 500 max HP is just gross. It takes so many bullets from a P90 to actually break this metal structure. Look at how many it takes to break this metal structure from about 70 meters out. More than a full clip is needed to break this metal. If you compare it to wood, it's hardly comparable. You know, 20 bullets max. I think I actually missed a couple on the mountain there. And that's just the difference between wood and metal. Brick is definitely a middle ground. Brick is the strongest material in the game for aggressive play and pushing people. Metal is the strongest for... I mean, honestly, if your structure is going to live for more than 10 seconds, you need to use metal. And wood is just trash. Use it if you have it, obviously. Use it to build up mountains. You know, if I'm trying to loot tilted towers, use your wood to build up on rooftops. Use your wood to block shots if you're getting sprayed out, because it starts with just the same amount of HP as brick. So if your wood is going to break instantly, just like your brick will, you might as well use the wood because it's a worse material. And use wood being plentiful on the map to your advantage. So basically, you're going to want to use wood for anything, you know, building up on mountains, on houses, blocking sniper shots, things like that. Things that you know you're not going to need to sit behind the wood for a while. Brick for pushing, metal for any sort of defensive play ever. I mean, if you think about building a myth hut, if you build that 3 high made of all metal, it is going to be indestructible unless they have explodes. It'll take. I mean, you could go eat dinner and come back, and it still won't be broken down, which is incredible. So the next tip I'm going to be showing you guys goes hand in hand with the last tip, and it's that you need to prioritize your landing spots based off of brick and metal. So what do I mean by this? Because of the material change, and it makes brick and metal so much stronger than wood, is that you need to land in spots that can farm brick and metal relatively easily. Fatal Fields, one of the strongest places in the game at the moment, and I'll show you why. It has a wide variety of materials you can farm in a short amount of time. It has a moderate amount of loot. It's got quite a bit of ammo crates, which is very important. And it has 3 forests and 2 brick quarries. Once you mine all those, you can rotate into gas station and farm metal if you're in the circle and you want to play defensively. You can farm along the roads for cars. And you can push into many rift spots on the map. There's rifts over here. There's rifts here. There are rifts up here. It's a great sort of central area on the map that has a lot of options for where it needs to go. Really one of the strongest places in the game at the moment. Risky Reels is another one where you got a lot of loot in these outskirts houses. You have Whaling here, which has literally max wood times a billion. And then you have one of the biggest brick farms in the game, other than the quarries. Also, you have more brick here, more brick here. Whaling is really strong, and that goes hand in hand with risky because you either go whaling, brick, risky, brick, whaling. Based on where people land. If nobody lands whaling, you might want to do bang, bang, bang. But for the most part, if you're landing in one of these 2 spots, you are making use of all 3 of these spots. Or if you have to concede brick farm because you landed whaling and people are rotating down, you can always go to brick farm. There's tons of brick over there. Brick all throughout this. I mean, there is tons of brick out here, guys. Lonely has a lot of brick. Lonely is another strong spot on the map. It has metal farm here. With all the RVs, you can get like a good 800 metal if you farm like all the cars and RVs there. Plus, it has a lot of ammo crates there. You can farm all these trees, a lot of trees here. Quite a decent amount of brick. Nothing crazy, but it has a lot of easy brick rotations like, over here, here. This hill in general is really strong. Tomato Town's another decent spot. It's really weak on loot, but it has rifts here. It's got the brick up here that we've been talking about. It doesn't have wood. You need to really rotate over to whaling, but you can kind of ignore wood as it's the worst material in the game. Farm up on that brick and metal. Use the rift and go anywhere on the map to get wood, Another really strong spot that not a lot of people really think about is Shifty Shafts. It has obviously a lot of wood. It's got a lot of mushrooms. But the biggest thing here is that you can farm all the mine cart tracks, and they give about 15 to 20 metal for 3 swings, which is pretty dang good. It's better than a car, and there's tons of them here. You're relatively safe. Not a lot of people can see you while you're farming it. You're not too vulnerable if you block off a couple of the entrances, and you can just farm it all and get max metal. Not to mention there is a vending machine spawn in there. Another really good spot, my personal favorite, is Lucky Landing. A lot of people overlook it. It has quite a lot of loot and has really good rotations now because of the patch 5.0, which added rifts and things like that. So you got quite a bit of, you got a decent amount of brick back here. Nothing crazy. 5, 6 spawns, a couple spawns here. You have enough wood to get max wood. You hit all the bamboo sticks and things like that. But what's important here is you also got the rifts over here to rotate into like gas station for metal. Yemen for more loot. You can rotate up to Fatal Fields and take the guys out there. You're probably going to have more loot than them. They're probably going to be farming. You can take them out while they're vulnerable. You can farm that brick and wood. Not to mention you go over here for more rifts. You can go to Yonder Yard to farm the cars for metal. There's many rotations from Lucky Landing. Now, guys, there's tons of places on the map that are really good. Junk is really strong. These rifts made a lot of these spots on the edges of the map even more safe because they're not really vulnerable to the circle anymore. What matters here is that you guys are realizing where you're landing and why you're landing there. You know, if you're going for kills, these tips don't really matter that much. But James and I used these tips to help us place as well as we could in Summer Skirmish Week 3, and we managed to get 10th place. You know, little tips like this really do add up and help. And you need to make sure you guys are farming as much brick and metal as possible because it is the strongest material in the game, and it'll stay that way for a while. So plan your competitive play off that, and I'll catch you guys later. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed that video. Just a couple little tips and tricks that I've learned over the course of the patch 5.0, 5.10, and 5.10 post SMG nerf patch. And these tips don't seem like much, but if you really add all these into your play, it'll really add up and help you win more games in solos, more games in squads, more games in tournaments. So practice these tips, guys, and I hope you all enjoy. I'll catch you later. Leave a like, subscribe. Peace.